Hello guys, it's time for day number 2, and on day number 2 we're talking about 31st of January of 2022, which was our first day, our second day in Krakow, but like our first full day in Krakow, so that is why I call it my first day. I remember waking up this morning, like in the morning time, and thinking to myself, how gorgeous is the apartment building that we're in, because we arrived in the dark the day before and now we could really see how gorgeous it was. And I remember looking outside and thinking, oh my goodness, this is a stunning building. They put us in such a beautiful area. It's so gorgeous out there. But yeah, so we were starting the day. I started off with, we were gonna have breakfast outside. Now I am someone who can't shower without eating something, so I can't shower on an empty stomach or I will pass out. So what I decided to do, the day before, we actually bought some cookies, and I decided that I would eat some of these cookies, I would get a little bit of milk in my stomach, and then I would get ready. So I had my first breakfast, and that is when I started to get ready, chose my outfit for the day, which was a difficult choice because it's quite cold, but I knew we were not going to be outside for that long today, so I wasn't quite sure what I was going to wear. But yeah, I got ready for the day and we left around, I think 9:15 is when we left to have breakfast. We actually went to Vesola Cafe, which is probably pronounced horribly. The way the restaurant looked on the inside was gorgeous, and then we both ordered cappuccinos, and I remember getting them and they were so pretty made. Mine had a little swan and it was so gorgeous, and that's when we thought, okay, breakfast is going to be so good. So for breakfast I actually had porridge, which is such a weird thing to order in a restaurant, but they had special porridge with special toppings that they made. It was homemade chocolate paste, homemade peanut butter, homemade yogurt, and it was so good. It was so delicious. I think my cousin, she had eggs and bacon. Hers were quite delicious as well. Okay, after breakfast we actually decided that this was a time that we needed to go and do some shopping, because we were planning on having lunch inside at home, and we also just needed some basic groceries like water, because the landlord of the apartment said we couldn't drink water out of the tap, so just to be sure we wanted bottled water, and we wanted some breakfast options, some stuff to buy in case we were in case plans change and you go home, some fruits, some cookies. So we did go to the store. I didn't record that because going to the grocery store is quite boring and you don't need to see me going to the grocery store. I think that's quite not really the content we're going for. So we went to the grocery store. We got a lot of stuff. We got it was quite cool because they have these 5-litre bottles of water, which was quite cool because we just got one bottle, 5-litre. It was 40 cents, I think, which is super cheap, so we got that, and then we just headed home to have lunch. I remember for lunch we had bread with cheese and hummus, obviously not paired together but apart, which was quite good as well, also not recorded because I was so hungry I forgot. We realized that obviously we have been in Krakow for 24 hours now, and we hadn't really been to the city yet. So what we decided to do is we decided to take public transport and go to the main square of Krakow. We actually decided that we were going to take the public transport for a few stops and then just quite figure out ourselves where to go, which was such a good idea. The first thing we saw was this beautiful old building, and I was like, okay, architectural buildings, yes please, I want to see all of this. When we looked to the left, it was this, I think it was the opera or the theatre, I'm not exactly sure which one of the two, but it was a gorgeous building. It was absolutely stunning. I think it was a theatre because we looked up if there were any plays playing, but there weren't, so that's quite sad because we really wanted to go inside and watch a play, but there weren't any at the moment. it's so stunning there, like with the theatre in the background. You have this square where there is a sculpture of a horse with only 3 legs, which I don't know the history about, but if you do know what that is about, just comment down below, because there was like an engraving saying what the 3-legged horse meant. It was in Polish, so I couldn't understand the word, but it was quite pretty. And just as well, the streets there, all the buildings are extremely pretty. There wasn't one house I was like, oh, you're not pretty. All the houses were so gorgeous. So we were walking in that street with all the amazing architectural buildings, and that is when we left that street, we entered a square, or we could see that we were entering a square, and right in front of us was this huge church, and we were like, okay, we're in the right place. The church itself was quite pretty once again, but you could just see in the background that you were entering a gorgeous place. Like literally, I think we were entering like one of my favorite places in the world right now. It was so stunning out there. So you walk further ahead, you know, past the church, and on the left you just enter this square. And I don't know what to say about it, but it's just take a look yourself. I mean, if you don't call this stunning, I don't know what is for you, but this square is so amazing. It looked so pretty. I will be talking more about the buildings on the square in the next video, so I'm not going to go too much in detail. I just remember standing there and thinking to myself, I could literally walk around here for hours and not get tired. The thing that I loved as well is that Christmas was over, because we went in the beginning, obviously it's the 31st of January, so in the beginning of February, but there was still a Christmas tree on the square, and it actually really like made the whole area lighten up, and it just made it feel a little bit more cozy. There were Christmas lights everywhere, which just gave you like that wintry feeling. That is exactly why we went to Krakow. So stunning. So this is called, if I remember correctly, it's like the Stare Miasto, and on the Stare Miasto in the middle you have, you're not gonna laugh, Sukinis, if I pronounce that correctly, which is basically the largest building in that main square, the gorgeous building. And you can actually go inside, and inside are all of these like tiny little shops. It gave me like kind of market vibes. It was quite cute to see like all these shops. They did have like not too pretty like things that they were selling, but it was quite cozy, and it was something so unexpected, because we were just like, okay, let's pass through the building, and we weren't expecting to see that, so that was quite like a pleasant surprise. We just like kind of roamed around the streets of Krakow, you know, the old city. We just were walking around a little bit, and we bumped on another little square where there was another market. Most of the stands were closed though, but this was also, it was already like 4 in the afternoon, so maybe a little bit normal that most of the things were already closed, because I think markets are mostly open in the morning time, or at least they are in Belgium, so maybe that's the same in Poland. But it was once again like that cozy feeling, and we were just both talking, like in Belgium, markets, like just simple farmers markets, they like need to like build the stands, and then by the end of the day they need to like take everything away, and that's just every single day they have to do that again. They have to build up their whole like stand, have to break it down by the end of the day and take it home. And here this was actually like little houses, and each shop just stayed there, so they could just close their doors and everything would just stay in place, which is such a better like way of doing things than we do it in Belgium. But that is honestly something I said a lot in Poland. Okay, by this time we were kind of doubting what we were going to do, because we both agreed that the first day was going to be like kind of a chill day, kind of like discussing what we were going to do the next days. So the first day we were like kind of, okay, what we're going to do. We were both kind of like peckish for a little bit of coffee, so we actually sat down in a place called Księgarnia Muzyczna kurant, if I pronounce that correctly. If you're Polish, you're gonna be like, what she's saying, which is basically like a little cafe where you can like drink coffee and whatever, but you can also read books for free, and they're playing classic music. I mean, it was such an amazing like mix that you wouldn't really see in a lot of places, like the coffee, the books, the music, it all fits so perfectly together, and it was such a cozy scene, and I really loved it. I actually really enjoyed being there. By the time we were done drinking our coffee, it was actually already getting dark out because it was like 5 in the evening, and we actually got to experience like the old town of Krakw for the first time in the dark. And this is when we realized that all the Christmas lights still hanging there made the place so cozy and so special. We actually had a little photo shoot near this stand where they had like all these lights, and we both had like a little photo shoot there because it was such a beautiful scenery. Something that we weren't really expecting is obviously going to Krakow and still seeing the Christmas lights being there at the end of January, but it was such a pleasant surprise because it made the whole experience a little bit more magical even. We were kind of doubting at this point what we were gonna do. Are we gonna have dinner somewhere over here? Are we gonna go another place for dinner, or are we gonna do some takeout? We were both quite knackered because we were still quite tired from like traveling, and we still needed to figure out everything that we wanted to do the next few days. We had to book some tickets, so we decided to opt for takeout. So we went to a sushi place. I know, sushi, I know. Right near our apartment, which was a vegan sushi place, so every single piece was vegan, which was quite cool because it's like a combination of sushi that you've never had before because it's all vegan. And then we just decided to have that at home, a little setup with our sushi, and just watch a movie, like a feel-good movie. I think we saw Brides Wars or something like that, and it was quite fun just to like sit there and no like obligations, just like chill out. We kind of went over the schedule for the next day, so we booked some things that we wanted to do, and realized that the next days were going to be quite busy. So yeah, that was basically the end of day number 2 in Krakow. The next few days are going to be so much busier, but it's going to be so much fun. So I will see you on day 3.